This is your host Dawn from the Darkcity Crew. Tune in at www.darkcityradio.com. You can find us by searching Darkcity Radio on Facebook or Twitter. You're listening to Darkcity Radio Live. To Darkcity Radio Live.
And that's exactly where we are on Darkcity Radio. Once again, what a cracking set of shows we've had tonight. Running all the way through Vinny's show early on, kicking off really. Well, we have the simulcast. Callers coming into that. We've had it all day. Brilliant. I feel like Dark City's alive, more alive than it's ever been anyway. Really good stuff. So big thanks, as always, to the people who rang in. You know, brilliant. A lot of them were listeners and now they're getting part of it. It is your radio, as our Lord Vosto has pointed out. No, he's not a lord, he's the Count. Excuse me, we don't have lords. He's the Count Vosto. And that doesn't give him a position of authority. He deals with numbers. So yeah, good stuff. And I do like them other jingles. I hope you like that. Them little bits and pieces of stuff we throw in there. Throughout the day of the music. Got a lot more DJs lined up. There's more people doing jingles. I think we could end up playing jingles all day. And I'd be all right with that. So good stuff. Good stuff all round. Right, where we at? Right, well, the crew's evolved, as it does. We've arrived at the Dark City. We've got an hour tonight. It's... should be pretty packed. I'll tell you who we've got with us. I'm going to give them in reverse order as we're going to get there. We've got Sarah with us, Crystal Sarah. She's taking notes for the YouTube stuff, so you've actually got some information on the YouTube and the links and stuff, trying to tie it all together, especially when we get people coming on. Oh, we've lost her. Oh, dear me. Oh no, she's back again. That's all right. Permaculture ladies and stuff. And she's still with us anyway. We've still got. Yeah, welcome back. We've still got Vin James with us from earlier. I don't know if he's active or not, but he is still there on the line. We've got. Hey, brilliant, nice one back. Welcome to the Dark City. We never know what's going to happen here. Remember that. So I don't even know who's here at the moment. We've got Sudama. Who's kind of been supporting us amazingly since he arrived up on the Dark City Crew. Nyrees, I can't say your name, sweetheart. The permaculture lady. And we've got Dawn from the Dark City who's just done that wonderful show. First crack out there. You've heard her interview before, but launching a show today. Really good stuff. We've got our Robohippy kicking in the background and Badger. We had Badger a bit earlier on, but he's back. He actually came in for the permaculture because he's big into that as well. But hey, this is what the Dark City's for, so we can throw things in that have been getting at you or what have buzzed you up. You know, your good sides, your bad sides. Let's learn from the bad stuff. Let's learn from the good stuff and let's move forward. Right then, so I'm going to hand it over to Prajna and Cali because they've had a bombardment of stuff coming through to them this week. Who am I losing? Somebody's popping on and off. It's, we'll be all right. We'll make it. Right, Prajna, are you there, mate? Swing it on.
Well, I am, yeah.
Get it off your chest. For those people who don't know Prajna, you can look him up, you can find him anywhere. He's actually now known as the Orange Auto Hippie. Okay? The Orange Auto Hippie, you can find him anywhere, right? And Prajna, with obviously the force behind his truth. Do you like Cali? Take it away, you two.
I've got a friend who's just found out about One People's Public Trust. And he's found just about every link on the internet that has got anything to do with One People's Public Trust. And my wall on Facebook today has just been one big long spam of One People's Public Trust. and the guy's probably a nice guy, you know, but it would be good if he would post some of the stuff of people who actually think about these things before he starts posting all this stuff everywhere. His latest is marvelous. It's some Lamborghini or something like that with a number plate that says opt in, One People's Public Trust, OPPT in, which is the slogan that they're busy casting around at the moment. But do you know, how did they establish this One People's Public Trust? Well, they used a little scheme that the Freemen have been using for ages, which is to send someone a notice, and if they don't write back to you about your notice, you say, oh, right, well, I've just created my own law then. I've now got you fixed in a contract. And this is what they've done to all the governments and banks and so on, is they've served them some notices that all the authorities have looked at their notices with contempt and not bothered to reply to them.
As they do with the Freeman stuff.
As they do with all the Freeman stuff. And so now these One People's Public Trust think that they've got a law that's higher than God, basically. And but the great thing is, they're grabbing everything back for you and for me, and we don't even have to do anything. We don't have to sign a piece of paper.
We don't even have to opt in, because that's acquiescence by silence anyway.
Yeah, because effectively they've served a notice on us the same way that they served a notice on the governments and on the banks, and if you haven't rebutted it, then automatically you come under their jurisdiction. So this is cool stuff, and I don't know why people are not falling over each other to not sign up for One People's Public Trust.
I think they are, actually, babe. But what they don't realise is that's acquiescence.
But, you know, on the line here, we got Badger as well, who was going to, maybe he wasn't going to counter what I was going to say with something else, but I think he's got more news on this front. Another beloved member of the Freeman on the Land community, in fact, maybe even a founding member, John Harris, has, amongst other things, more or less declared himself king. So, Badger, can you tell us a bit more about that? Or he's forgotten to unmute his mic.
John Harris did talk in Birmingham.
Bombshell. Oh, no, I'm still here. Am I here?
It's not Birmingham we're after, it's Cornwall, because it's John's Cornish roots that he claims give him a direct line to the throne. So
I was just going to say that I know there were a lot of people sort of excited to hear him, and I've heard a few rumblings that there was a bit of disappointment with what he presented. And there was a bit of Have
you got me yet, Raj? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Yes, Badger, talk, please.
Wonderful. Okay, well, it was a wonderful evening. A rather blown my head off, actually, after following John for many, many years. But he did a talk, which I recorded. It's 3.5 hours. And not only has he connected his family roots, it's taken him some time, I believe, and he's connected himself to the Duke of Cornwall and the history in Cornwall and a stannery, and it's very important. He was born apparently on St. Michael's Mount, which shouldn't be called St. Michael's Mount. In fact, all of Cornwall and all the saint places seem to have Catholic Church roots when they took over many areas. And really, there's an enormous amount of information. And it was quite interesting in the evening, because you get people who were expecting it's an illusion, Freeman type information. And he wasn't giving any. He was giving the opposite. John is pulling out of TPUC and wiping every element of his input to TPUC, and he'll be doing that over the next small period. He is also really explaining a rather interesting factor about the deposition of the Pope. And this deposition, which most people wouldn't be aware of because you didn't find it on BBC News, was that apparently 400 Templars walked into the Vatican the day before he resigned and forced the signature. So there's a couple of little bombshells. I can say more. Wow.
I didn't. I didn't know about the Pope stuff in particular. I did have a little bit of advance warning that that John might be saying something about quite how royal he is and so on.
The next Queen of England.
Yeah. And
Well, it was an interesting one.
you know, he's always been a bit of an enigma to me, John.
Yeah.
Because regardless of all his popularity and so on, he announces to people at talks and so on that he's going to be NLPing them, and people, instead of running from the room, sit there and happily be NLP'd. So there are some rather interesting things about John altogether, really.
Yes, I mean, when he was going through the evening, what was wonderful is actually watching. When you watch the video, you'll see a lot of people disappear after the first session. You'll see more disappear after the second session. And you'll see a core of people that are there for the third session, which actually, when you chat to people and you see the people heckling at the beginning, is exactly what I was saying. When you see people expecting it's an illusion type stuff, and they weren't getting it, they weren't getting any Freeman stuff. And they moved on to, John moved on to the announcement right at the end, only for the people who were really, truly interested. But you see, the wonderful thing, yes, there's NLP. I think everybody does it in the normal action without realizing it sometimes. You know, some people are better at it naturally than others. Some people train. But I think the focus really is based on the value of his honesty. And the first two sessions were wonderful when you understand the history, and you can see the sort of honesty, the real, I understood the points that he was bringing up as chivalry. And also the wonderful video was connected about ego. I mean, really, he opened himself up for the biggest attack, not only declaring his lineage and his offer to replace the Queen, and his thought that he would also possibly be backed by the same group that opposed the Pope, which, if they can sack the Pope as the most powerful person on the planet, then the Queen is not the same, level of ball to knock off the shelf, if you like. So,
well,
that was really... Yes. Because
I wonder if there's any way of us checking up about this. This has worried me about John for quite some time. I heard him speak over at a White Rabbit get together at one time, and I pretty much switched off and walked out of that, because he basically said, I know a whole lot of stuff that you people don't know, and I can't tell you because I've been told by top secret people. Yeah. And one of these days you'll all find out just how important I am, because I know so much, because important people have been contacting me, and this stuff about being king, well, yes, it's because there's some shadowy group somewhere who may be Templars and other secret societies and stuff that's been going on, causing problems for all of us for generations. Why it's the same as we've just been listening to Albert banging on about treason and all this kind of thing. Well, to accept that treason exists, you first of all have to raise somebody up above everybody else, and then say it's treasonous to do anything against them. This is the problem. Until we've got a completely flat society, got rid of all this hierarchy, got rid of all the secrecy and so on, and so I don't think that John's actually helping anything with all of this sneaky Templar
Well, it's probably Masonic. Well, according to my sources, anyway, the group that is well in with, that have been feeding him this information for years, are actually based in Scotland. So, and I know Scotland is the birthplace of Freemasonry, so they're probably Masons.
So answer that, buddy.
We have enormous groups running our world.
Say again?
No, we have enormous groups running our world. I'm not advocating, or we have enormous groups running our world in the shadows. There's no doubt about it, and they're both balancing a rather strange act. And I think some of them are out to protect and to bring more positive change, and some of them are not. It does tend to make you feel a little bit small when you discover that there's that group with that power and this group with that one. And the thing about these groups is, like, when everybody talks about Illuminati or anybody talks about these big groups, is there are so many of them, and when you attack one of them, they pull together. And when you that's the problem. You can't identify. There's so many smokes and mirrors, which is a typical Masonic technique drawn from the Hinduistic, isn't it? It's drawn from the Indians, the ancient Indian teachings and Masonic theory and practice. But John had other things to say as well, and it wasn't just about saying that I'm king. The verification is not clear to him either. But he does say that. It's a super interesting video, super interesting talk. But he also advocates, now this is going to put, bombshell after bombshell. He also advocates the end of Christianity as the problem behind everything, which is hence my questions to Albert Burgess about who is at the top of the ladder, who needs to change to be able to change the things in a positive way. He is talking about what he wrote about in the Protocols of Zion and his other books, his other writings, about being a benevolent leader and moving from monarchic to anarchic, which is basically, he explained it in the video as an example used in prisons. Instead of prisons, which don't work and don't rehabilitate, using them to as learning centers for things like permaculture, things like growing and gardening, and so on and so forth. There's so many things, but he also advocated. He said that what's his name? Crowley, and a few other members in those groups, which you'll have to see the video to remember. I don't want to misquote him. But he also advocated them as being misread, misjudged, and the OTO and the Dandy Club and all of these sort of things, which have brought around, like the French Revolution. It wasn't a people's revolution. It was all planned. Jefferson was involved. Franklin was involved. There was all sorts going on. And when you look at that and you look at where he's coming from, John is also guessing. He's followed his roots, and I think there's a lot to investigate. He can't find the evidence for a lot of things, but he admits.
I think Paul is trying to get a word in edgewise at the moment. Looking at chat, yeah, Paul, did you have something you want to interject?
Yeah, I mean, John Harris was one of my heroes. He was. I got a lot of inspiration from John Harris, and I kind of, although what he's actually saying is pretty far out there. The Templar movement, or the ones that are calling themselves the real Templars, or the original Templars, I've been made aware of before. They do have links to what you would call the Vatican, but not links like you would imagine. They are completely opposed to the Vatican. They don't have a website. There's no email address or contact information. There are no tours here on Dark City. We have at least one member of the Darkcity Crew that has been active inside that movement. Who's currently over in Europe. So there are, I don't know if they were involved in this so-called Templars marching into the Vatican. I wasn't aware of that. Again, be aware there is apparently, to my knowledge, two kinds of Templar groups about. So,
yes.
For me, it's all gobbledygook, right? It's a complete waste of time. You're having your energies focused onto things that you can't do anything about. You're not leading John Harris's life. John Harris is leading his own life as you are leading your own. It's a psyops to pull your consciousness away from things. We've had the OTCT, the OG, whatever it's called, which which are basically people getting you to contract so you can get out of a contract that you never contracted to in the first place. Come on, let's make it real at least. Present this before us. It's gobbledygook. It is. I'm told it's the old PPT. Thanks, Dan. Thank you. What is that all about? I mean, how long has it took for people who were willing to use sense? Can I call it sense? Is that all right? To have a sense of things. How long has it took for that to be taken apart? For people to realise, well, look, that's what they're doing. Let them get on with it. Just let them get on with it. I've met beautiful, brilliant people, and I mean brilliant. And what I mean by that is beyond illumination. They've not sat around and gone, wow, kumbaya, my lord. No, they may have done that. They may have actually got themselves into a focal point. But after that, they have took positive, creative action. You don't need authority. None of us need authority. If you need any guidelines, no loss, no harm, no deception. Law. And don't tell me we need to integrate these laws. I'm sick of hearing it. I really am. Oh, well, the Deacon of Bargibar in 1320, he's dead. Who cares? He's dead. Ceased to be, is no more, gone, finished. 2013, brothers and sisters. 2013. And we're still listening to rubbish written hundreds of years ago. Most of that is based in a religious ideology. Most of what we know, we're born into it. We have to do our best to navigate through it. But focusing on others because you agree or disagree will not bring forth change. Bringing forth change will happen through direct action.
Indeed,
I tend to agree with you, Paul. And one of the things that even John said, actually, was that we're looking at history, we're reminding ourselves of wars, which I thought was a very valid point. And we're almost training our youth into war is normal through our video games, through war, through, our remembrance of this. It isn't deterring anything because we're all still at war, especially the people who are remembering most. So our history isn't doing us favours.
Well, in the words of Bill Hicks, you want to kill one another, I'm going to film it. If that's what people want, I'm straight with this, but if people want to go to war, blow one another up, let them do it. What gets me is when in the so-called collateral damage. If they want to go and kill one another, go and kill one another, but don't strike at innocent women and children. That's demonic. That's demonic in its nature. Attacking the weak. I don't want to fight anybody. I've done all my fighting. I fought for everything I've ever got. I've given up. I've given up battling, mate. I have. So, yeah. I don't think us... Like, my point here, anyway, and I know I'm long-winded. I know that. But my point is, focus on yourself and do something creative. You'd be amazed how easy it is to do. Rather than wasting our time on these numerous psyops. You start focusing energy onto somebody like that, and putting them into that position, it makes it difficult for them. John Harris was a great guy. A great guy. I've never met him. He lived quite close to me, actually, at one point. But I've never met this bloke. But I've seen his work. I've seen his inspiration. Well, okay, he might have done a bit oopy-doopy. He might not have done. I don't know. I'm not qualified to say. But it's starting to dawn at me. It really is that all the people who give me inspiration, all of them, everyone who's ever inspired me turns out to be a New World Order shill working for a Masonic order. Grow up. That is Gladio. That's Gladio. It's getting you to focus on other people and try and blame them for a situation that you haven't took any action in. Now, I know a lot of you out there will be nodding your head and going, hey, Bob, yeah, right on, because you've already gone out there and done something. And I'm not having a go at the people who haven't had a go at people. I'm not having a go at anyone. I'm actually just trying to point something out. If you get focused in something, there ain't nothing here can stop you. Nothing. Go on, Prajna.
I was just going to say that the sages have noted for a while that that your teacher eventually becomes an obstacle and you have to step over them to carry along the path. And this is a problem when we hold anyone up in a great deal of light. We can get fixed on their thinking, and their thinking comes from their experience. And at some point, you're going to find your own feet, and you're going to have to go on with your own experience. I find John quite fascinating, not because he's fascinating himself, but because I've got a very dear friend who I have a very high regard for his wisdom, intelligence, and great scholarship. And he, although he finds John a bit funny as well, he's in awe of several things that John can do. John, if nothing else, is a very clever guy. But the problem is when you start mixing in with shadowy characters that you can't talk about, well, all of our problems come from all the things that are hidden in shadows. Anything that's out in the light, then everybody looks at it, and if it's bad and it's out in the light, then everybody turns around and shines a light on it, and it changes and disappears. But with shadowy organizations and Templars and stuff buried in history or buried in lore or anything else, that's all the stuff that's used to fuck us all up. And it's about time we started bringing everything out in the light. Who was saying that they were impressed with his honesty? You know, honesty is not dealing with shadowy figures in the background. Honesty is dealing in truth. And if I have to deal in secret, I ain't going to deal with people.
I completely agree. I mean, I've been tackling Masonic situations most of my life, and the problem with, these groups that are claiming that they have so much power makes everybody else just feel small. And this is a big problem. But I just wanted to get out what John said. I didn't want to get out what I said. I want to make it completely clear that it's not my opinion. And I'm still absorbing the information, to be honest.
That's fair enough. You've watched the video.
There was more as well. No, yes, I think everybody should watch. Who's interested should watch and make their own mind up. This is it's an interesting turn of affairs from somebody who has drawn a lot of attention when people have been looking for answers, and therefore it does have a level of importance and interest, if nothing else. But the whole talk was about actually taking the power away from this, so those groups don't have to exist. But it was double-handed. It's hard to explain. I mean, you have to hear it from his mouth, not from mine. I'm just giving you the title. But he's almost claiming as well, not only to be a future king, he's done a proper, as he explains, a David Icke, and said that he's also the Antichrist.
Oh, no, I take umbrage at that. I actually take umbrage at that, him claiming to be Antichrist. I mean, king or queen, if he wants to commit, say he's the queen or he's the king, I'm all right with that. But I don't really like the idea of anybody else coming along, and just trying to make out that they're already a member of the Dark City. I mean, who does he think he is? No. We would dispute that. He can't be the Antichrist. It's impossible, because the Antichrist doesn't do hierarchical judgment. Treats them all the same, as above, so below, so they say. There is this non-benevolent and benevolent energies these religious people keep going on about. And personally, if I'm going to have to pick between one of those demands that they place me under, I would go for the underverse rather than the rubbish they're quoting up here. I wouldn't be choosing this oververse that rules over you and tells you what to do and where to go and what you should do, what you can eat, what you can't eat, what you can plant, what you can't plant, and swings you into diversity where your head's buried in a book for the rest of your life. We've got really solid researchers amongst us now. We really have. I'm learning, me, at a rate, and I've been around the bush, a couple of times. A few of them have been burning. I really have. And I have learned so much sat here in front of these three monitors over the last couple of months is phenomenal. So yeah, fair play to you all. Fair play to you all. I am in quite a unique position where I'm meeting pretty much everybody who's coming in. These different ideas and counter ideas, these claims and counterclaims. It is phenomenal. It's almost like we've set up an inquisition. But I don't mean like the previous ones. And that's what troubled me about Don's guest tonight. A lot of what he said I was all right with. Until he came to his final solution. Kill them. No, gentlemen. No. You know, what a wonderful guy. He spoke out. He's doing his thing, like I say. But your final solution is death. I hate to disappoint you there. But we've heard it before. We've heard that before. They've done it wrong. Let's kill them. Point the finger at blame at somebody else. Burn them. Nail them up. Stab them. Set them on fire. Drown them. Drive them out of their homes. Persecute them. Why? Because they're different. Because they're not the same as you.
Well, there was another point that apparently 200 people got murdered on St. Michael's Mount when they were trying to defend the old Duke. And if you study Stanley law, I mean, there was a lot of connections because I do my research that were very interesting. And as I say, I'm still digesting the info for its value. And there's very little you can actually properly check on as well. So it does make it suspect. But everybody has to make their own minds up, and I don't like anybody that wants control. I think control should disappear. I don't think we need it. I think we've just got to get in touch with our natural selves and move forward. Yeah, I did right. I mean, you know, as you said, I do permaculture, and I do it to allow people that they can be free. They don't have to buy their food. They don't have to use supermarkets. They don't have to do the commands of what our culture, you know, sort of like encourages.
You nailed it completely there, Badger. When you said we've got to get back to our nature. And the way that I look at it is this. If a rule is in line with my nature, why do I need the rule? Of course I don't need the rule, because if I just behave according to my nature, then naturally I'll behave in that way in any case. And if the rule is going against my nature, what am I going to do with your rule? I'm not going to act against my nature just because you made some rule about it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I look at cultures that, you know, before our civilization, and they were very powerful. And I stand by. I've got a thing on my wall, and it's by John Fire Lame Deer, a native Indian chief, and known for their wisdom often. But this is a beautiful thing. And do you mind if I read it out?
I don't mind you reading it out. You are a little bit broken, Badger.
Okay, I'll try and read this out as clearly as I can. Before our white brothers and sisters arrived to make us civilized men, we didn't have any kind of prison. Because of this, we had no delinquents. Without a prison, there can be no delinquents. We had no locks nor keys, and therefore, among us, there were no thieves. When someone was poor, that he couldn't afford a horse, a tent, or a blanket, he would, in that case, receive it all as a gift. We were too uncivilized to give great importance to the private property. We didn't know any kind of money, and consequently, the value of a human being was not determined by his wealth. We had no written laws laid down, no lawyers, no politicians, and therefore we were not able to cheat and swindle one another. We were really bad in shape. We were in really bad shape before the white men arrived, and I don't know how to explain how we were able to manage without these fundamental things, so they tell us, are so necessary for a civilized society. John Fire Lame Deer.
Isn't that just so right? You're absolutely nailed. Of course, we call ourselves civilized. The Indians don't even call us human. To them, human are all the highest that we would regard in mankind, and everyone else is not human, inhumane.
I'm the lowest.
We've got a lot of concepts to drop. Yeah, we've got a lot of concepts to drop. Civilization is one of the most, and words, all these spin words, democracy, and it's all absolute, excuse my words, bollocks. It's never existed. It's just control. It's the only thing that's ever existed. And this selfish attitude that people have, with our modern world, and to me, it comes down to back into permaculture. It comes down to farming. When we originally were farmers and we started bringing farming about 10,000 years ago, we suddenly had a population growth. We needed more land to do more farming. We had monocropping encouraged and selective crops in monocrops, and we needed more land. So we had a big society, and we created armies so that we could go and get more land. And therefore, you see on every army uniform, you'll see wheat and plants on the collar, on the top of their hats, on Julius Caesar's crown, on all of this. And it's all from farming. We've gone wrong with farming. We've gone wrong. Our entire country is covered with patchwork fields of absolute waste. It's waste. In fact, farmers are paid not to grow anything on most of it these days because of somebody else's control. And we just got to grow up. We've got so much to grow up to. And I'm trying to grow up because I've been treated like a child all my life. And I do my best I can to grow up, to pull other people to come that path with me. And there's a path of knowledge. And if you know there's that path of knowledge, I don't understand why people go la, 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 and don't bloody run down that path of knowledge. The knowledge that is natural, the knowledge that is with us. And this is the problem.
Especially now that it's all available to us on the internet easily.
Hi, it's
Absolutely.
Rupert. Get your fucking elbows off the table. And my food is absolutely disgusting. But that doesn't stop me from listening to the Darkcity. I ate a whole...
I couldn't help it. I just had to have a
Oh,
little
go
bit
on. You missed
Excuse me.
the bit where he said, whole baby. Paul, play it again.
You want it again?
The whole baby bit.
Hi, it's Rupert. Get your fucking elbows off the table. And my food is absolutely disgusting. But that doesn't stop me from listening to the Darkcity. I ate a whole baby. God damn it. Hi, it's...
There you go. That's Hi, it's Rupert from Hi, it's Rupert. And if you want to look him up, then just type Hi, it's Rupert, and you'll find him.
Well, I thought once again, it isn't as simple as John just saying, I want to be king, I've got a history, I'm valid as king and all of this, and I've got this group behind me. He was trying to induce that he wants to remove what we consider is poor and bad and controlling at the moment, and move us into a situation, or allow us a situation where we can be anarchic, not monarchic. He wants it to come down, and the way to come down is to, change that control system from the core. If the Pope has come down, and what a funny thing, a mate of mine pulled up on me, the new Pope apparently, who I don't know the name of, but apparently the new name of this Pope is an anagram of Iscariot, and it's just getting freaky. I listened to Radio 4 News yesterday on the way to go and see a Brian Gerrish talk, which was wonderful, and I'll put it up on the net. And he, on the radio, it was really odd because they went about Prince Philip going over to Rome, but not entering Vatican grounds. Elizabeth Taylor and her Egyptian history, all in a row, this was. It was like one of those wartime things in the code. You know what I mean? When they used to go, the birds are flocking over Brighton or whatever. And the next, it was a whole string of this. It was helicopters coming from heaven, explaining that what's Elizabeth's Taylor's husband, the famous actor, because he never won an Oscar or something. So they were talking about that, and they were talking about Egypt, and they were talking about Cleopatra. Then they were talking about two brothers growing up and things like that. And me and my mates were sitting there listening to the radio and going, what? So I think we should just turn off every single bit. I hope eventually to get rid of mobile phone once I've got permaculture systems and I'm secure. Get rid of the computer, get real, get connecting, get speaking to people. But I go out now, I can't meet anybody. They all go la la la. You know, I mean, got to set up something to get them all going.
Badger, it's really funny because just a moment ago when you were talking, I've lost my thread.
Have you?
Okay.
I've lost it.
Okay, don't you hate that?
It was. don't you just when you were talking about getting rid of all the connections, and just before that you were telling me about all these stories, and it floated into my head. I thought, Badger, you live in a very strange reality, you know, where all that stuff happens.
I do, because of what I've learned.
But then I went on to think, and you know, now my reality will have got that much stranger because now it includes your reality. Do you see what I mean?
I've got to meet you, Praj. I've got to meet you, mate. I know you know some mutual friends of mine. I've got to come and meet you. I've got to come and have a bit of hippie time with you.
You know, once we get a tow bar, we'll be mobile anyway, and who knows, we might come and see you.
Yeah.
Cracking. Absolutely cracking.
Hi, it's Rupert. And when I get done with a full day of smoking crack and drinking my own urine, I like to relax by listening to The Dark City, right here on the one and only Internet. Perhaps you've heard of it.
That's the way
I got a friend who knows you, apparently, you know, has known you for a long time. So I've got a heads up on you, Price.
Right, I'm sure you have.
Who's the friend?
Do you know, I think lots of people think they've got a heads up on me, but they really never do know until they've sat down at a Dooney fire with me, you know.
It's Sapper, man.
And then they're rather less sure than they were.
Go on, who's this friend, Badger?
Sapper.
Oh, right,
Sapper Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think he's got more than half a clue about where Prajna's coming from, yeah?
Exactly. I got good research, you know. I got good links. I'm not messing around here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hardcore.
And you may well know Lance as well.
Oh, what a wonderful man. And he's setting up all these talks in Buckfast-Lee at the moment. He did a job talk.
He's just the most amazing guy. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Oh,
amazing.
Nothing but respect for both of those people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
when you see Sapper Mike, tell him we're damn low on Himalayan salt.
And cider vinegar.
And cider vinegar.
We've just got a clump of mother left, tell him. He'll know what it means.
You got to change your water filters yet, or what? Yeah, he'll be there. That Lance is absolutely amazing. It's nice to have him back in the area, and he's in Buckfast-Lee, and we're starting to do a lot more in this area, and a lot more will be coming out over the next few months. So keep your field.
We did intend to come down to Buckfast-Lee ourselves and join Lance down there. But we've got all these court cases and crap going on up here. But it's still very much way high up on the wish list for me anyway, to get down there. But we will see what the year brings, I reckon.
We got the court to do our bidding the other day.
We did, yeah. Well, Prajna's trial was set for the 20th of March.
Which just happens to be equinox.
It happens to be equinox, and it also happens to be slap bang in the middle of this event that's going on down in the Forest of Dean, a permaculture, low-impact dwelling workshop. Let's just do it and reclaim the land event. We had a directions hearing the other day. And said, well, I'm sorry, but the 20th of March is just not good for us.
It's a sacred day, I said.
It's a sacred day.
And the judge said, didn't you say that about the last day? And I said, well, every day is sacred to me. But, we're required to do things for people.
Anybody doing permaculture anywhere, they're welcome to contact me. I'll give any help and any knowledge that I know completely freely. Everybody needs help here. And there were some comments earlier on tonight. I mean, wonderful that people are coming on the radio talking about permaculture, talking about these issues. And I had a call tonight from a friend. He's got 4 acres, wants to build earthship structure and combine permaculture on the land. There's other people. There's so many people And it touches me now that this information is finally getting out to people. And
Badger, we've got 250,000 square meters in Ashton-under-Lyne. Just permaculture away. If people want to get up there and begin that process, there it is. It's on Junction 23. Go on, Badger.
Yeah. Well, if people want to, I don't know how much I can help, but I can help quite a bit, compared to, a lot of people that have knowledge in this area. I've been doing it for a long time. And funny thing about permaculture, it's not what you know, it's almost how long you've been doing it. It's reconnecting with nature, and that takes time. It's like building new synapses in your brain. So with that, we'll have to chat more, Paul, because
Badger, I wasn't necessarily referring to you directly. It was a general invitation to people into permaculture who maybe haven't got land. Go on, Badger.
Absolutely, because you can do permaculture from a window box upwards.
I'm talking to people who need land, Badger. Yeah, people who haven't got land. If they're anywhere, it's based just at the edge of Junction 23 on the M60. If you want to get up there and begin permaculture, then there is the land. It really is. That's what I'm actually putting out. If you are into permaculture, be my guest. Help yourself.
Wonderful. You see, it's coming. We're bringing change ourselves. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
So we're getting towards the end of the Dark City once again. Listeners out there, thank you very much indeed. Without that, we're just a bunch of crazies arguing in a room. Or not arguing, of course. We're putting it together. I've seen that. I've seen many components come together over the... and I can say I'm in a position that I'm really honoured to be in, to meet all these people. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful stuff. You never know what we're going to get on the Dark City. I mean, tonight we've got Vinny there, Vin James. Let me get it right. It is Vin James. It is. I'm getting better with these names. Who does a cracking slot for us earlier on. We've got Dawn with us and Nyrees.
Yeah, we're in the background, just piping. Get here and have
and take us out, girls, if you would. Absolutely brilliant. And also, Vinny, if you want to throw something in, you've been really quiet there. There's Dan and Sudram and Sarah sat in the background. They've all kind of made it clear in text. They're happy to hear what's going on, and that's really cool. We've got so much backup here at the Dark City. So go on, girls. Whoop it up for us for the last 9 minutes. Can you do it? Can you take us out with a roaring cheer of permaculture, an alternative idea?
I'd go out tomorrow and plant a seed. That's what everyone should do. Keep planting seeds.
We are actually holding in the summer a secret potato planting ninja camp where we will teach you how not to be feared of opening a can of worms, because of course if you're going to be a secret potato planting ninja, you can't be afraid of upsetting a can of worms. Also, we will show you how to subversively plant fruits and vegetables without being assaulted by WPCSOs or the local authority and police. Yes, the ideology of carrying a pocket full of seeds wherever you may go. I've got to go with that. Even if you can't actually plant those seeds, if you don't get the opportunity, you're carrying a good intention to plant that seed with you wherever you walk. So yeah, do it. Put a few seeds in your pocket. Doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't have to be a potato and a sack of spuds, of course, but literally shove them in your pocket. As you walk, you will be carrying that intention with you.
Seed balls, Paul. Seed balls.
Oh,
if you make a seed ball, it's very easy. You can get a bunch of seeds that are good for the area you're aiming for, and mix together one part of compost, 1 part seeds, 3 parts compost, and 5 parts red powdered clay, with a tablespoonful of paprika. And then you mix it all in. You mix the seed and compost first, then mix the clay, then mix with the paprika in, and then rub it all together, roll them up, dry them off as little marbles, and you end up with a fair few seeds in each ball. And they are, then you dry them off quickly, otherwise the seeds will germinate. But the seeds, when you throw them, because they're round and they're a ball, they'll fall into where the ditches are, where the water lies in any ground. Then they already have the food in them because of the compost, and they will germinate within the ball. The paprika is added so that birds and ants, ants particularly, get discouraged, and the birds don't really peck at the whole mud ball. So it protects the plant in its initial grow, and then nature will choose which plant is best for that area amongst the seeds that you've got inside the ball. When the first rains come, they tend to break up the ball and allow it to go out. But seed balls, anybody can do. It's only a bit of mud and a bit of compost and some seeds. And it's that simple. And it's a technique developed by Masanobu Fukuoka. And it's one of the most seed bombs that get too big. People have tried to get them to be.
Can you say?
Yes, his name is Masanobu Fukuoka. He's Japanese, and he was doing permaculture and dry rice beds and amazing orchards way before permaculture even existed. He's amazing. Yeah, you can watch him and read about him. He's got a book called The One Straw Revolution, and you can also pull that up on YouTube too.
Brilliant info, Badger. Thank you. I'd just like to add one little thing to that, what Badger's saying. If you get yourself a catapult, you can have real good fun with them seed balls. You can get them where you'd never believe you could get them. You know, you really can. So have some fun with it. Take your kids out, set up a couple of targets in, and you know, have some fun. Make it a bit of fun. You know, be a secret potato planting ninja. It's fun. You know, take your seed balls with you. It's good fun when you do this. You get exhilarated. You know, I mean, it sounds silly, but you just go and slip a few broad bean seeds, you know, in the side of a planter that's been put there by your council. What really does your head in, every time you go back, you'll keep looking at it. You'll keep looking at it. Are they there yet? Can you see them popping out? You know, can you see them? You know, go into the woodlands and when the fruits stop bearing on blackberries and so forth, take yourself cutting, stick them in a plant pot, get them going, stick them out in the winter, in the summer, you know, in the spring, and go and encourage the hedge roses where they go and rip them out, go and start putting them back in. You know, it's a battle where nature's working with you. You know, some of it won't work. You know, some of it won't work, but tell us what doesn't work. Please tell us what doesn't work as well as what does work. So, did somebody just bring Rupert in then, right at the end of the show? Not sure if that.
Yeah, I did.
Right, okay.
I can spell the name if you would like me to spell the name of Masanobu Fukuoka.
Oh no, you said it brilliantly. You said it absolutely brilliant. I thought you'd actually broke up, Badger, but you hadn't. It was just the name, and you said it great. Your audio has been a little bit broken and waffled, but I'm sure we've managed to get your points over anyway. I know I sat here listening to yourselves and Prajna. A little bit of a rabbit hole, really, wasn't it, from the new King of England down the rabbit hole back into permaculture, and there we are out this weekend, hopefully firing seeds around the countryside. Good fun, good time of year to start as well. We planted potatoes up on the allotment action group. Big thanks to everybody involved up there at the weekends who do come. Little small teams turning up now, but we are actually making quite a bit of progress. Getting a little bit done each time we get there. You don't have to do a lot. But of course, if you do want to join us at any time up there, you are into permaculture, just get in touch. There is a website for it. That is www.bobsbackyard/AAA, 3 capital A's. Doesn't stand for the New World Order. It isn't the 3 pyramids, it's just we actually live in Ashton, and we're an allotment action group. So there you go. A little bit, a quick one just before we finish there. They are still trying to negotiate to give us a lease, but of course, when you've taken land back, then it is free for the people. That's you out there. So if you do want to do something up there, the only reason we ask you is because it has turned back towards the wild, and there is nesting birds, and we want to actually give them the consideration as we move on. Rupert, you've joined us in the last few minutes. Do you want to say good night to the people, mate, before we drop the server?
Thank everybody for listening.
That was our Rupert. It's Rupert. That guy has given me a chuckle in some of my darkest moments. Thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, old people, young people, animals, minerals and vegetables, alien entities from beyond our consciousness that actually tune into the Dark City Radio on all forms and levels of communication. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you soon.
I have to channel the spirit. All right, let's see here.
This is not our radio. This is your radio. Dark City Radio.
Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So if you want the truth, go to
Dark City Radio.